What's up, everybody? I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMoviescreens.com, and I got another movie to review for you guys, and that would be Bilal, a new breed of hero, as it is in some countries, including the country it was made in. But here in the U.S., it is just Bilal, which is B-I-L-A-L, and that is it. So basically, if you were to see just Bilal somewhere, you have no idea what it is, and let me try to explain myself and explain what this movie is about. I got it on my phone. I want to make sure I get this correct, because I like to be very accurate on foreign films. All right, so here we go. 1,000 years ago, one boy with a dream of becoming a great warrior is abducted with his sister and taken to a land far away from home. Thrown into a world where greed and injustice rule all, Bilal finds the courage to raise his voice and make a change. Inspired by true events, this is a story of a real hero who earned his remembrance in time and history. So that is the IMDb reading for this movie. And so, before this, I had no idea what this movie was about. I had no idea it even existed. But then a trailer dropped. I actually enjoyed it. I really liked the themes that were being played out. Like I said here, greed, injustice, equality, discrimination, power abuse, and, the power abusing the lower class with religion. There's a lot of great, mature themes in this. It could have been rich and emotional, and so I was like, maybe this could be good. And, it was rated PG-13, so I was like, all right, we're getting an adult animated movie that's going to have some stuff that might feel uncomfortable, but need to be present in this type of movie to get its point across, so you can feel, like you just watched some horrific human history, and then, of course, want that change that Bilal wants at the end of the movie. So I sat down and watched it. I hated this movie. It is absolutely terrible. Now, there are nuggets of greatness, and I believe this movie could have been fixed, and I will try to pitch how you could do that. I'm going to go into detail why I hate this movie, so if you want to go ahead and just comment or dislike right now, and not hear me out, that's fine. This is YouTube after all. But I'm not going to lie. I've done a lot of foreign films on my channel. I've reviewed a lot of films in general. And typically when I receive comments, some of them are trollish. Not going to lie, I'm kind of scared to do this movie. I'm going to go and just throw it out there. So if I end up dead somewhere, just know that I tried. And I appreciate all of you. All right, so Bilal. I think the biggest thing about this movie is its delivery in the medium, which is animation. Adult animated movies can be good, and that's not the problem here. It could have been good if it was executed properly, because the story itself in the movie is great. There's emotion there that could have been played out. There's some great characters that could have been fleshed out more. There's some really great themes that could have been explored and really kind of take advantage of its rating and its, animated style to lure kids in to show them the horrors of our horrid human history. I think it's genius. And Bilal could have been that one character that people look up to and be like, I want to change like Bilal. Raise up. Speak my mind. Raise my voice, just like the description says. But this movie should have not been animated. It should have been live action, it should have been longer, and it should have had more time dedicated to fleshing out the characters, the actual construction of the story, and make sure it has more emotional weight to it, so at the very end we actually care about what we just watched. That's kind of the biggest issue that encompasses the entire thing, because I'm about to rip the animation a new one here in a second. But I believe the only way to fix this movie is to make it live action, make it longer, and make it an epic. And it probably would have worked, and I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But there are major, major issues with this. So let's get real and break this down. I'm going to start with the negatives first, and I'll end with the positives. First negative, the writing. The story itself, like I said, good stuff. The actual dialogue is poor. It is the type of dialogue that is literally a Hallmark type of, quote in a card for an hour and a half. Every single line of dialogue was just like it was almost at the end of an inspirational speech without actually hearing the speech. It was almost like it was hitting you over the head going, hey, look, we're trying to do the right thing. The main characters are trying to do the right thing. The bad guys are evil. Look how evil they are. It's like, we get it. You could have done it in a little bit more subtle manner, instead of feeling like, this powerful Hallmark card for every line of dialogue. Hone it back a little bit. Have those lines of dialogue. I don't care, but make it towards like the end of a speech or something, or like the end of at least a paragraph. But every single line of dialogue just felt, like inspirational when it didn't really find its footing and identity on what it wanted to be. It just felt like, this inspirational movie, and that was it. That's all it was going for. So that's the writing. Let's start with the directing. Now, I got some positives with the directing, so calm down. But the majority of the negatives with the directing lie in the construction of the story, because it feels disjointed. It doesn't feel like there's any kind of weight to anything. There's really no point. There's a lot of stuff that kind of just happen. The scene will fade out. It will fade back in. It's like, what was the... that could have been shortened. That could have been taken out. That could have been rearranged. It's just, there was stuff, just little mistakes like that where you could have easily, fixed that with the editing and made it kind of flow a little bit more smoothly. This movie was an hour and a half long, and it felt like it was 3 hours. It was a chore to sit through. So going with the directing again, and I'm about to, counteract that with some of the positives, but for 99% of this movie, there's no visual style to this. This movie is stale beyond belief. This is set in a beautiful environment, a luscious, rich environment. But the actual visual telling of this story is a little stale. Besides some of the positives, and I'll get to that, I just felt like there was really no risk taken. It just felt like a very safe type of storytelling. When it's got some really great themes that you could have really done in, this, in just any type of creative way, and I would have accepted it. I would have been like, I may not agree with that, but I appreciate the effort. I just feel like there was really no effort in a visual sense that the director was trying to go for. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the animation. Once again, this is split because half the animation's in the positives, half of it's in the negatives. The negative part of the animation is the actual people. My God, they look like emotionless robots running around. And on top of all that, their animation is janky as hell. Yeah, I use the word janky, what up? Like, it feels robotic. It doesn't feel smooth with the environments. It feels so jarring to watch. It almost resembled cutscenes in a video game, and those are actually better than this. So going back to the emotionless part, like I said, this movie's got some rich themes to it. When your character has got these dead-looking eyes, it is hard to bring out any emotion. Not only one with the character, but two with the audience. So we can't connect with these things because they don't look like people, they don't sound like people. They're just these odd creations that were made in a computer. And you don't feel anything for them. So that applies to the emotional weight from the story element. There was no substance at all to this movie. A lot of stuff happening randomly. And, when these people look like they're dead, it's just like, case in point, there's one scene where a character's trying to cry. There's a close-up on the eye. The upper eyelid twitches. And then there's a tear that rolls down. And it was like, that was their attempt to provoke emotion. It's lazy. I'm sorry, but the animation on the actual people is jarring and weird. It is awkward to watch. Sorry. I guess another bad thing, like I said, the music, or not the music, the music was actually pretty good. The editing. Once again, hour and a half, feels like 3 hours. That thing should have had better pacing to it. Maybe more of a visual sense could have, kind of upped the energy just a little bit, or hell, make it longer. I probably would have, enjoyed it because there's a lot of, missing pieces that feel like, when one scene ends and the other scene begins, I feel like, was there something that was there in between? Like, what's going on there? So, a lot of stuff doesn't really make sense for the movie to begin with, and that could have been the problem, is that a lot of stuff was missing. Just little stuff, like at the very end when no spoilers, but there's a discovery of another character going, wow, I haven't seen you in a long time, and they have gray hair. When they could have, asked years before, where this person was. It's very odd that this movie plays the way it is, because it is almost a cradle to the grave story, but it feels like a lot of pieces are missing, and that could have helped out with the pacing a little bit. And of course, the directorial style. So some of the positives, here we go. The negatives are out of the way. Positives. Positive number 1. Let's go with the voice acting. I think everyone did a pretty good job. Now, I forgot to mention this in the negatives, but some of the line reads were a little awkward, little jarring here and there. But other than that, I thought the actual voice acting was good. The dialogue might have been a little minimal, with the Hallmark sayings and whatnot, but the actual voice talent was good. Now, it is a little bit awkward to jump from Bilal as a teenager to an adult, because they change voice actors, right? And so the final version, his adult version, is very bassy. And so I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it was very unexpected. So it took me about 5 seconds to adjust, but that's not a problem. But everyone else did a good job for their respective roles. Another positive, the direction, for 5% of it. So you know how I mentioned earlier where I was like, all right, there's some positives and there's a lot of negatives. So here's some of the positives. There's a couple of nightmare sequences and a couple of flashback sequences. They're actually pretty well directed. They have decent sound design. They have wonderful music, wonderful animation. It's powerful imagery. It gets under your skin. That was the type of stuff I was looking for. So when I saw nuggets like that, I was like, why couldn't the whole movie be like that? So I don't know. When you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, but just look for the nightmare sequences and the flashback sequences. Those are really well done. Another thing with the direction that I really enjoyed, there is, I will say, a battle at the end of the movie. Now, it doesn't really make sense for the movie because it pretty much just happens out of nowhere. It doesn't really have any build up to it. It's just like, boom, we're there. But taking that negative out of the way, it's actually got some pretty decent shots in it. It's got some really great, gruesome, stylistic imagery of warfare. And you're like, wow, once again, where was the director at for the rest of the movie? It's just frustrating because I know that there's some good stuff in this story. It was just handled poorly. But that battle scene at the end was not bad. I enjoyed it. It's just, I know I'm ragging on this movie, but there are nuggets of greatness in it. And the last couple things for the positives, the music was really good. I really thought it was a nice accompaniment. It might have been overbearing sometimes to really kind of manipulate you in the emotions just a little bit, tad too loud. But for the most part, I thought it was a great accompaniment to what was going on. And the last great positive with this movie, this is why I am frustrated with the animation of the people. The environments in this movie look gorgeous. I'm talking photorealistic, Pixar level gorgeous. Now, this movie cost $30 million to make. Most of it probably went to the voice acting, but I'll guarantee you the majority of it went to the animation and the environments. I also really enjoyed the clothing on the characters and the hair for some of the scenes. Sometimes when they did close-ups and the eyebrows, it didn't look too good. But hair, clothing, environments, buildings, those all looked magnificent. Such detail, such rigid edging. It was wonderful to witness. And that's probably why I made that battle scene at the end even better than it was, because the environments were so well done and they had those few glimpses of greatness in the direction. I was like, wow, this movie could have been something. But the environments are absolutely stunning. It's incredible that the environments were 1,000 times better than the actual people. When you have an emotional story like this, don't you want your people to, kind of look on par with your environments, or even look better than your environments? So I don't understand. And Yeah, and I guess this is the last positive, because I think I touched upon everything. Yeah, and I guess for the negatives, I also forgot to mention cinematography. It played into the whole video game aspect. There was a lot of zoom-ins that were just no. But I'm not going to even touch upon that, because I think I touched upon the main stuff of what went wrong, what went right, and how you could fix it. Now, please let me know down below why I'm a dumb, stupid, fat American, and I'll probably respond. I have no clue. Anyways, I'm actually curious. So, what did you guys think of Bilal? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Please let me know down below my face and let me know. I'm going to give Bilal a D+. I'm going to give it that plus only because there's a lot of good in here. I could jump it up to a C-, but I just think everything else was handled so poorly. I can't excuse it. I'm sorry. But there are some greatness in here. And I really do hope they tackle this story again in a live action form. So let me know about Bilal down below. And that will do it for this review. I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreenings.com. And tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.